Milky Way, shining where the dark can't stay. Don't say much, I hear you in the quiet.
So today, we'll be talking about true riches and false teachings, because I think this is really important, especially in the day and age of social media and listening to whatever songs that we listen to that talk about money, talk about this and that. We have to remember that a lot of that stuff is super evil, super evil. And God reminds us so many times in the Bible, love of money is the root of all evil, period. Not money. We need money to survive. He knows that. He knows that money is a necessity and a thing that we need to use, a resource that we need to survive and be able to live and just live a nice life. But the love of money, being so deeply greedy about money and not even care about anyone else, it's very evil. Very, very evil. And I think we need to really discuss that right now because it is happening like crazy. You could go to a store or like a company, like a brand, and they could what would you say? They have this product that's coming out, and it's a really luxury brand, and then a bunch of consumers they noticed that they came out with a certain brand, a certain product that's so much cheaper than the other products, and all of a sudden everyone just starts rushing towards that certain product and don't even realize you could use that money, that $400 money, or you could have used that $600, maybe $100 to donate to the church, or use that money to go help someone else instead of spending on yourself and being selfish. And it's just crazy the amount of things in this world that are just so evil, especially everything that revolves around money. I could talk about money and how evil it is. Talk about the love of money and how evil it is for days, for multiple. I think I might do 2 videos of this because it's absolutely ridiculous. This is gonna be part 1 because we need to get into it because it's not a good thing to have, and that's something that God's no, I can give you riches and I can give you wealth, but you're not going to. I don't want you to love money, because if I were to take all that money away, literally, if he went to all the rich people and took all the money away, they would start crying like little babies because they don't know how to do things without money, literally. So to start it off, in 1 Timothy, he mentions right here, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave. That is so true. I'm sorry, but when you first came in here as a baby, even when God created the earth and he made Adam and Eve, they were naked, and that's it. That's how we were when we were babies. We came here naked. That's it. We did not come here with money. We really did not. At all. People need to realize money was not a thing. And no one came here with wealth, success, nothing. Nothing. We came here with nothing. Literally, we had to build ourselves something. We had to build ourselves a lifestyle, a life, whatever. And obviously we couldn't do that without God. So that's what they did. They used God, had God help them throughout their lives and what God has promised them. And people have to remember, when you die, all your money is going to be here, still to this day. It's not going to go anywhere. That's why we got to build our treasures up in heaven. That's why I'm trying to build my wealth, is in heaven. Not down here, because I will not be here for all of eternity. I will only be here for the amount of years that God wants me to be here, and then I will head up to heaven and be with him for all of eternity. In case you didn't know, all of eternity is all of eternity. That's a long time. That's literally forever. It's never ending. That's how long. So if you want to be the love of money and be greedy and want things and be super, super evil, you're not going to make it to heaven. I'm sorry. God doesn't want those people in his life or in his home. The route that you're choosing is the route either going to be in hell or it's going to be in heaven. So if you love yourself, if you love whatever you're doing and you're I don't care about God, your only other path is hell, and that's because you're sending yourself there. No one is sending you to hell. God was never sending you hell. He talks about hell because he doesn't want his people to go there. He wants his people to go to heaven. He wants his people to go to him. But when you have chosen a life without God, you have chosen a different path, which is not heaven. Period. Done. Like, you can't even argue with that because that's just the truth. But people who long to fall rich, fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. I mean, you can just even look up like certain companies that you're probably supporting and buying. And yes, when you use the money that God has given to you, be careful on what company you're supporting, because a lot of those companies are very corrupt and are not taking care of the consumers or people who they work with. They have used that money for literally destruction. Like destruction. People don't realize how very evil this world is, and the companies that you have once supported that you should not support anymore. Again, there's a fine line, obviously. Like if you go to Target carries a bunch of different brands, right? You can't just be like, oh, I don't support Target because they carry this one brand. Okay, guys, like, let's just use our brains for a little bit, okay? Guys, I'm gonna need a new camera pretty soon because this camera, like, loses storage, like, very quickly. Either way, when you go to Target, you're going to Target and you're buying stuff, but Target, again, carries a lot of different brands, okay? Target may carry a brand that you may not like. That does not mean you need to go and buy that brand. Okay, you can go and buy the brand that is supported, that like you like. And you guys can't be like, okay, well, I'm never gonna support any company. Like, so where are you gonna get your clothes? Yeah, like where are you gonna get your clothes? Like you're just gonna be naked everywhere? Like that's crazy. You have to be careful on which brands you buy, but also remember that like you can't just be like, I'm never gonna support, like I'm never gonna go into this store. I mean, I guess you could, like that's if you want to, but again, like if you go to a mall, there's a bunch of different brands there. You can't be like, well, this mall's evil, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go to Walmart, even though it carries like some brands that are actually pretty good. I'm never gonna go to buy on Amazon because it's evil. Like, no, guys, come on. Like, you can't think that way. But you can definitely be like careful on like which brands that you're very careful on buying, for sure. Because some brands have done things that are not okay. Like at all. Like pedos. Like literally straight up, like these brands have done this type of stuff. Stuff that like God has protected these types of people and wants people to protect these type of people, like children or like women, or like even the poor people who have to go work for these people because they need to make a living. And they are just so corrupt that they just don't care about their lifestyle. They don't care about them being healthy or the work environment. It's just ridiculous. And it sucks that this is the world we live in. But the only thing we can do is look up to God and ask him for help, because he can surely help us as much as we can. But I can tell you there's more brands coming out that are less evil, way less evil, and honestly just better for you. And the products are great, and they really take care of the consumers. They take care of the workers, and they don't like overcharge you sometimes. And when you love money more than God or more than the true faith, you're kind of setting yourself for destruction at this point. You're not even trying to get to know who God is. You're just so caught up in craving so much money and doing this. And you're so crazy. Before I actually quit my job at Starbucks, I was craving money. Like I started making money like a lot, not a lot. Okay, like not thousands. No, it was like above 1,000, and it was great. I really loved it, and I was literally going to work 6 days a week. But the thing is, I was neglecting reading my Bible. I was neglecting focusing on God and focusing on him. And I was neglecting doing sewing and fashion and stuff and things that God has wanted me to do for a while. I was not doing any of that stuff because I was so like focused on something else besides him. And that's not good. And God's like, yeah, no. Not that he made me quit, but well, he did. It was more like he told me, hey, you need to quit. This is the plan I have for you, and you're gonna steer in this direction. And I was making money, guys, and now I'm not making any money. Like, literally, I'm just here broke, like, just trying to make videos and post them out on YouTube. And that's really it. YouTube and TikTok, actually. I have a TikTok as well, and Instagram. And that's all I can do. That's literally all I can do. And the only thing I can do is really lean on my faith with God. And I think this was God's plan this entire time for me to do this. Obviously, an act of obedience had to come in place. And because if I was like really loved money and continued to work at Starbucks, I would not be doing here. Maybe the plan that God had for me, which might happen within this week or next week, or who knows when I'll start making money again, probably would not have happened. And then that's me not being obedient and being greedy and craving something that was not of God at all. So just remember, when you go out there and you watch these videos, or if you see something on the internet and you're like, oh, I need this and stuff, do you really need it? Like, do you really need it right now? Like, in 5 minutes or maybe in 5 days, will you ever remember it? Probably not. And there's a lot of things that I've done that I was like, oh yeah, like I really need this right now, or I think this would be great to have, honestly. But if you really think about it, it's not always the best to have, actually. I think sometimes people forget that there's a bigger world out there, and there's people who are struggling way more than you think. And it's not an easy situation, for sure. And you can use that money to help those people, but you have to be obedient with the Lord and be like, you know what? I'm willing to give away $5 of my Starbucks gift card. Starbucks, like, money. Or maybe $10 or $20 of me about to go to Starbucks and buy something. This entire time that I've been, like, broke, I've had some cash left, and I literally used the rest of my cash to give back to the church. Because that's giving back to God. If I don't have anything, if I have just a little bit, that little bit is going to go directly to God. He's still going to provide for me. He's still going to help me with everything. I still have a car I can still drive. It has a little bit of money, gas in it still. I still have a pretty good amount of money in my bank account. Not a lot, but enough for me to get some food for myself and still donate, honestly. Like, I might donate every week for $10 every week. And that's what I'm going to do, because I don't love money. I need money, but I don't love it more than God. And I will make sure that money will go directly back to God and nowhere else. And maybe and that money that goes to the church, which is going back to God, that church is going to use it to help other people. It's going to go and help spread the gospel. It's going to help help all of God's people. That money that I donated back to God is using it to help other people. That's why it's super important to sometimes be obedient and be like, you know what, I'm gonna give it that. Here you go. You can have that, actually, not me. So, have a great day. It was a great time talking about love of money. This is just part 1. I'm gonna do a part 2. It will be posted on Friday. So have an amazing day. Go check out my TikTok and my Instagram. I do post on those as well.
Fading in the